to know in 6 minutes starts now.
Case almost closed. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Bill Cosby's retrial is coming to an end in Pennsylvania, where a second jury will try to do what the first could not, reach a verdict. Fox's Gernal Scott is live outside the court in Norristown.
Dave, after 11 days of testimony and around 25 witnesses for both sides, Bill Cosby, just about 15 minutes ago, arrived at the Montgomery County Courthouse, wife Camille at his side, to hear, along with the jury, closing arguments. Now, hard to judge the demeanor of Cosby. He tries to keep a stoic face, but if he is convicted of the 3 aggravated indecent assault charges against him, it could amount to a life sentence for him. Now, the jury is expected to hear the closing arguments, take up most of the morning before they get the case in the afternoon to see if they can come to a verdict. Dave.
Here at all next hour, the driver who plowed a van onto a Toronto sidewalk, killing 10 people, injuring 15, goes to court.
It's very clear, just from a general perspective, to say that the actions definitely look deliberate.
That's Police Chief Mark Saunders. They still don't know why he did it and investigating any possible terror ties. Travis Reinking facing 4 murder charges in Nashville the day after he was captured not far from the Waffle House where James Shaw Jr. stopped the shooting.
I just needed to disarm him and get the gun away from him.
Shaw set up a GoFundMe page for the victims, up to $87,000 raised. Police say Reinking used a gun that had been taken away from him after an arrest at the White House last year, but his father gave him the guns back and he too could be charged. The polls are just opening in Arizona for a special congressional election. Democrats hope to win another House seat that had been Republican.
Congressman Trent Franks resigned late last year because of a sexual misconduct scandal, and 2 women are running to take his place in District 8. Doctor and Democrat Hiro Tipernini and State Representative and Republican Debbie Lesko.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. That has been a dominant GOP district in the past. This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
The clock is ticking. Every day you put off buying life insurance can cost you big time. The older you get, the more you'll have to pay. And a sudden accident or unexpected illness could cause your rates to skyrocket or even make you uninsurable. Beat the clock. Call SelectQuote now. No hassle, no obligation. In minutes, you'll have a choice of your best rates from up to 10 highly rated life insurance companies. Richard, 40 years old, takes meds to control his cholesterol. Still, SelectQuote got him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. Under $1 a day. Don't risk your family security another minute. Get your free quote now. Just call 800-694-1010. That's 800-694-1010. 800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Officials in Toronto say it's too early in the investigation to know if Monday's rental van attack is terror-related, but they don't think so. 25-year-old Alec Manassian is accused of killing 10 and injuring 15. Jackson Township is the latest to consider armed guards in their schools. The school board will vote on a measure to arm up to 19 security officers at a cost of over $400,000 a year. Governor Phil Murphy says the reduction of the sales tax by 0.3% was a gimmick, and the benefits from returning it to 7% outweigh the costs. He says for taxpayers and households earning between $75,000 and $125,000 a year, the sales tax hike would amount to about $85 a year.
So I don't take any one of those dollars lightly. But I would say this, and this is the important point, we're going to put multiples of that $85 back into that family, not just in this budget, but going forward.
The sales tax was cut as part of an agreement to raise the gas tax. Murphy says he does not intend to adhere to that deal. I'm Eric Scott, and this is the Town Square News Network.
At Seacrest Village, they understand that families need a break from the daily responsibilities of taking care of a loved one. Whether you're going on vacation, want to take care of personal business, or just need some quality time with your family, Seacrest Village has the facilities to assist you. In addition to featuring a knowledgeable and caring staff, they have long been the leader in delivering quality, long-term subacute and memory care. So rest assured, you know your family member is in compassionate and skilled hands. It's all part of making your loved one as safe and comfortable as possible. And respite residents receive the same services available to their full-time residents. Seacrest Village in Little Lake Harbor Township. Call for special rates and more information about respite care at 609-296-9292. That's 609-296-9292. Or visit SeacrestVillageNJ.com. It's worth a visit and closer than you think.
The beautiful springtime weather takes a break over the next couple of days. Clouds build in today with a stiff breeze and an increasing chance for showers as the day goes on. Highs mostly in the lower 60s today. Steady to heavy rain likely for tonight. Lows in the lower 50s. Rain wraps up tomorrow morning. We'll see scattered showers through the afternoon. Highs still in the 60s. Franklin Mutual Insurance makes choosing home insurance easy. FMI delivers the most appropriate coverage for the way you live simple. Find an agent near you at fmiweb.com. Franklin Mutual Insurance for the way you live. I'm meteorologist Dan Zero.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
I want to congratulate my friend, Harry Hurley.
You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Thanks very much. I talked with Chuck right until the second we went back here with John, who we're about to bring on. And Chuck asked me to give him 30 seconds because he wants to hear what John Zarek has to say. He doesn't want John to start while he's making his way. He has his app on, so he'll be able to hear it anyhow. But I said I'll give him 30 seconds to get down to the car. Ladies and gentlemen, on a special day and time, for that matter, because John is with us as a staple of our diet, standing fixture of our program, very listenable broadcasting partner, the law offices of John Zarek, Smart Law with John Zarek every Thursday morning in the 8 o'clock hour. John is going to react to some of what Chuck was talking about from his perspective and anything else that comes up. And we'll get more of your calls in during the hour. Dr. Mark Newkirk literally is in surgery this hour. We're going to have him on at the end of the week or beginning of next week, and that freed up one more bonus wide open forum hour of the Hurley in the Morning program. John Zarek joins us now. Counselor, top of the morning to you. Happy Tuesday.
Oh, it's a great Tuesday. Look at that weather.
It's indeed. It feels like finally it's spring, I think.
Yeah. I want to say so much. I don't always get a chance to listen to the whole show, but I listened to the whole show today. It was really, really good, Chuck. And what a good job and what a good steady force you are. And I want to say, Harry and I are, I guess we're both a little more aggressive, a little more enthusiastic, maybe a little more vulnerable to getting caught in a trend, right? But Chuck, it's so good to listen to him because he's a steady and sure hand. And, he's the kind of guy that Chuck is not my broker, unfortunately. I have a great broker, but we've been friends forever, and I'm loyal to my guy, and he does a good job for me. But he's exactly like Chuck, And I know because we, maybe there's a case with you, Harry, we get some extra money and, something comes in and we have some money sort of to play with, like maybe an extra bit of cash, sale of a property or something like that, sale of a position, and we would go to our brokers, and as countless people go to Chuck and say, here's all this money, what are we going to do? And we're thinking about investments, we're thinking about hot moving stocks and maybe even more aggressive stuff. And Chuck says, well, we're going to balance it. We're going to put it in.
That's the truth. Hey, John, as you know, because I know your guy does as well, but Chuck and I talk every week about total asset management coupled with the all-important asset allocation so that you spread it out properly for a great long-term strategy.
You're boring me to death, Harry. killing me. No, so, yeah, we think the same way, and so we want to, you know, like we're excited because we have all this extra money. What are we going to do? What creative? And Chuck and my guy, and Chuck would be my guy, but for my long-term relationship, certainly. They say, well, we're going to balance this. We're going to put some in an annuity, and what's that pay? Well, that's 5%, 4.5% over time. We're going to put some into money market. We're going to put some into bonds, and we're going to and like no juice. You know, no juice. and like it's like Harry and I are like, can't we go to the track with some of this money? You know, like buy some pork bellies or something. A little action here, you know. And nope, this is your retirement. This is what's appropriate, et cetera, and so we grumble, but we do it. And then, of course, 20 years later or 10 years later, you know, we call up and say, "We got any money?" You got.
Thank you for not listening to me.
Yeah, we got a steady stream here, and this is growing, and this is really taken off, and the interest is compounded, and all of a sudden we're financially solvent. Like, what? How did that happen? But it happens because we, you know, get a guy like Chuck, and there aren't many around. You know, because the big money is in churn. You know, the big money is in running with the ball and selling dreams and earning commissions on buys and sells, et cetera. And, you know, guys like Chuck have the courage to stick with the plan. They're not emotional guys. They're guys that are sure and steady, and they're the guys that enable us to take those long vacations with our grandkids, or, you know, run for Congress or whatever. You know, they're the guys that build the platforms to enable us to do better and better things in the future. So thanks, Chuck, and thanks to guys out there like them, few and far between. And if you have a guy like him, you're a lucky guy, and if you don't, you got his number, right, Harry?
Yes, I do. At all times, 609-383-2010. But that's a great assessment, though, John, of really what you want to look for. And we've had it. Well, Chuck and I go back all the way to the opening of the Golden Nugget, and we never lost track of our friendship in all these years since then. 27 years just on this program. But that is why Chuck, after more than 35 years, whatever it's been, is on the Barron's list. One of the only local people in this market. It's why he's on the Forbes list of the top financial advisors in all of America, because he's terrific at what he does.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and I enjoy the steady, sure hand. I did want to comment a little bit about the our state of the affairs, and because there's always a political aspect to everything.
By the way, let me say this to you real quick before you switch gears. Chuck actually just texted me how much he appreciated what you just said about him.
My pleasure.
Very nice,
it's just
John.
the truth. I mean, you hear it. You hear the straight truth here. So I'm not blowing smoke. He is that kind of steady, sure guy, and we all need that for the core of our future, our financial futures.
So you were saying, in addition?
Yeah. I was saying with regard, there's always with investments, with the future, ultimately what we're talking about in investments, and Chuck will confirm, investments in America is America going to be healthy, strong, and prosperous in the future? If so, then we want to take a position. We want to take a position in the market. We want to take a position in the financial instruments of the United States. We want to have a piece of the action. If we believe in America, then over a long term, we want to invest in America. We want to, one way to do that, as Chuck has done, I'm sure with many of his clients, is to buy the market. There are mutual funds and there are ETFs and so that are based on the Dow. Dow goes up, you make money. Dow goes down, you don't. And Chuck will tell you over time, not in the moment, not necessarily in the short term, but over time, investing in America, investing in the market is a real smart way to operate and a great way to make money. And, so our assessment is right now, is this administration and first of all, is the administration doing the job now, and are they likely to get reelected, and are they likely to do the job in the second term? And strategically, how does the United States look? And you have to say that the president is not only a tactical wise person. In other words, he knows how to play the small game, the smaller game, the passing a specific bill, getting a certain person confirmed. He plays that very well. But in the long term, politically, he is a strategic thinker of very, very rare quality. Now, you may, depending on your outlook, whether you're Democrat or Republican or liberal or conservative or far right or far left, you may think that he's, his long-term goals are totally inappropriate, inhuman, insensitive, or they may be great, the savior of the world, et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm talking about is not his goals, but his strategic thinking. He lays out things. He's good tactically, which means right now dealing with today's problem, but he lays out things in a long-term way, a strategic way, where he has the patience to wait years. And he's done that on his major projects over and over and over again. I mean, Trump Tower didn't come together in 3 months, right? That was the product of years of planning, strategizing, political activity brought in. He got tax breaks and so forth. Very smart as a businessman. You can question the policy from a government standpoint, but he used it. He used those tax breaks as a businessman. He knew his timing was right politically, and he's employing that for the good of the country right now, and he's also employing it for the good of the world in the sense that nullifying the North Korean threat, and it seems the deal's not done yet, but it seems that he's played his cards right there. It seems that he's likely to play his cards. Well, he has played his cards right in Iraq with regard to ISIS. ISIS is basically no more. And in Syria, he's, with the limited airstrikes and still talking tough, but acting in a prudent way. It seems like he's doing a pretty good job all across the board. So I think we can have a lot of faith. I mean, from the technical aspect, Chuck is the guy to tell you that, what's going up, what's going down in the near future. But in the long term, things are really, really, really good. And they're really good because he's such a good strategic thinker.
I totally agree. John, let's get our break in. We're going to come right back. John's agreed to hang out for a while with us in our bonus open forum of Open Forum, and we'll get in some of your calls as well as the hour progresses. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open. I'm ready to give Chuck's phone number. That'd be good, but it wouldn't get you on the air. 609, but it'll take care of your finances. 609-383-2010 to reach Chuck. 609-407-1450 reach John and Harry. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. John Zarek, yours truly, Hurley in the Morning on WPG.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank
When your dream is building a new home, we offer mortgage options designed with your convenience in mind, like combining your construction and permanent loan into just one closing, saving you time for the really fun stuff, like planning that housewarming party.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Your credit card companies love you. They love it when your cards stay maxed out. They love it when you only make minimum payments. They love it when you struggle. Why? Because they own you. And minimum payments mean maximum profits. Here's great news. National Debt Relief is now offering you free information on how to escape your credit card debt nightmare. If you owe more than $10,000 in credit card debt and only barely making minimum payments, know this: you may not have to pay it all back. In fact, you may have the right to settle that debt for only a fraction of what you owe. National Debt Relief has helped thousands of people get rid of over $1 billion of debt, and they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Get the information you need for free right now before this offer goes away. Call National Debt Relief now and escape your credit card debt troubles. Call 800-815-9591. 800-815-9591. That's 800-815-9591.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. One of the things I value most in life is time. Time to spend with my daughter, time to spend with family, and the time I put into my company that's reinventing the way women color their hair. The busiest, most successful women I know use Madison Reed, the amazing hair color hack. In under an hour and for less than $25, Madison Reed delivers gorgeous, shiny, multi-dimensional, healthy-looking hair with an ammonia-free formula. You'll look like you just came from a salon, but the reality is you have more me time to do what you love. Things get busy. Let us take care of you and your hair. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code HELLO. That's code HELLO. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Hey, wake up with Harry Hurley and drive home with me, Sean Hannity, 3 to 6. It's all happening here on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Thank you very much. 22 minutes past the hour, early in the morning, with John Zarek. Bonus time with Zarek. John?
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. But I enjoy the tactical advice certainly the tactical advice that Chuck gives. And as I said, there's also a strategic aspect to this, and the strategic aspect is really looking at the big picture. Should you be in the market or not be in the market? Should you invest in America or not invest in America? The overwhelming historical evidence is that you should invest in America, and also the data based on everything that's going on right now. Lowest unemployment in history, repeated lowest African American unemployment, lowest Hispanic unemployment. There's a lot of action out there in the economy. It's really an exciting time. I am going to hire another attorney, a unique situation. I'm going to hire someone fairly new out of school, maybe a year or so. Because I have, in this environment, it's a time when you can be creative, and I have some interesting approaches on how to implement a new employment situation and make it good for everybody else in the office, make it good for that person, make it good for our clients. So, but that's bred, that feeling of confidence is bred by the environment. We're doing well. We're doing well in the country, and we're doing well in the region, comparatively speaking. We're doing much, much better than we were. We're still not out of the woods. Absolutely not out of the woods. But it's an exciting time, and so we want to apply that, I think, to our investment philosophy. We don't want to run off half-cocked, but you can trust America, and you can trust America now.
Well, see, I believe in that, John. And here's the point. I mean, I don't think it's fail-safe because anything can happen, but we have to believe that America is secure and safe and that we're going to continue to prosper, because if we don't, it almost doesn't matter, because it would mean something absolutely beyond our control, horrific, natural disaster, asteroid were to hit the planet. I mean, things you just can't even, your mind doesn't even want to wander to go there. So to me, I've always operated under the philosophy that our best days are yet to come, the Reagan-esque type philosophical belief that tomorrow is going to be better than today. And I'm inspired to hear you say that the law offices of John Zarek are expanding. You're creating a job. And I believe there's a lot of business and industry right now that are hiring, and the unemployment numbers prove that, John. We have basically 100% job employment at the moment. It's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It is a very good thing. We have a really good opportunity here to. We have some breathing room in the economy, in much of the economy, certainly nationally. I was in Philadelphia yesterday on some business, and I swung by my grandmother's old house, and there was a sign on it. It's a row house a nice row house in Port Richmond, and I swung by. There was a sign on it, and just for curiosity, I called up the broker, a very nice guy. I said, "How much are they asking for it?" Now, I know that house was sold, 25 years ago for $20,000 or $25,000, something like that. He said, $285,000. I said, well, I'm used to Atlantic County. I said, I guess that's the asking prices. Are they looking to get like $250,000, something like that? Is that what's going on? And he said, it'll be the buyer who gets it at $285,000 will be lucky. There are 3 people with submitting contracts right now.
So they're booming.
$285,000, and that's a mile away from Kensington, the rough part of Kensington, which is still pretty bad. But there are homesteaders now in the worst sections of Kensington, infested by drugs and people roving the street. You'll see, young lawyers, teachers, doctors. They're grabbing a house relatively cheap, and they're guarding the front doors and back doors, putting up their alarms, and they're going to stick it out because more and more people are doing that, even in the worst sections of Kensington. So
wow.
Kensington,
John, you take me back to my grandfather, Harry J. Hurley. I want to say 25, and I can't remember the last 2 letters, four digits, East Gordon Street was his address. And we moved my grandfather in with us in the 1970s. And, he loved it. He loved Kensington. He loved Philadelphia, loved his area. And I haven't seen it in years. I have no idea. I have to imagine, because it was even getting a little bit rough 40 years ago. It's got to be a rough area now, East Gordon Street, right off of the L.
But starting to move. To move. You have people that are maybe risking their lives a little bit, buying houses and beautiful places, cheap and toughing it out. When that starts happening, then you're going to have a big move in the neighborhood.
So when that happens in this neighborhood, that means it's booming everywhere, doesn't it? Almost.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, things are good. We're a little behind the curve here because we had a lot of real estate to absorb in the market. There's still a lot out there.
Well, as you know, John, we come out of the Great Recession with the highest unemployment rate in America, the highest home foreclosure rate in America. So our path back to health, we had a much lower benchmark than many places that have come back quicker.
Sure. And, But when you get this kind of environment where people think, all right, I'm a business person, small business person, someone who has a law office, a doctor's office, a upholstery shop, a auto parts store, whatever, a butcher shop. I mean, small business people can say, they can look to the president and the administration right now and say, look, they're not going to be killing me tax-wise. I know that. So I can breathe easy. I'm going to have a break for at least a couple more years and probably 6 more years. So they're not killing me tax-wise. They're not going to regulate me to death, pass a lot of laws that I have to deal with. Unfortunately, well-intended, and I'm sure well-intended, but Obamacare was a disaster. I never knew what to do for the 8 years or the 6 years that it was in force. I mean, it was, do you hire people? Do you not hire people? If you hire people, are you going to be mandated to spend incredible amounts of money? Do you keep people part-time? The whole country went part-time, by the way. Not the whole country, but a big chunk of the country went to part-time simply to avoid the requirements of Obamacare. It was a disaster. Is the Trump administration likely, or the next Democratic administration, I will say, because they've learned their lesson, I believe, is the Trump administration likely to do something like that again, where we're going to be bogged down and not know what to do? And you want the business people to run with the horses. You want to let them run loose and be a little crazy, do some things that are more exciting, and you want them to have enthusiasm. So is anything the president likely to do likely to stop that? And the answer is no. Absolutely, the answer is no. Everyone is thinking positive, and it's not because necessarily they need the money. I make a decent living. We have Linda's retired. Things are going well. Do I need to hire somebody else to make more money? Of course not. But the excitement of employing new people, of developing certain focuses in the practice, expanding geographically, those things are fun. Which is really why I'd say half the people in business, certainly at the high levels of corporations, do it. They do it for the enjoyment. Most people have the money that they need, but they want to run with the ball because they like working with other people. They like accomplishing goals. They like achieving.
Halftime break, John. Good stuff. Let's continue. 32 minutes past the hour, early in the morning. John Zarek. If John doesn't mind, and I know John's rule is typically, and it's mine too, we usually show prep before we would just bring a topic out of the air. But John and I followed the first Cosby trial very closely. John nailed it. I know John was running for Congress and obviously running a business and taking care of life and his family and all kinds of things. And I just know we didn't have time to follow the second Cosby trial like we did the first. But I want to throw out a few things that I did follow. Number one, this trial is so different than the first trial. Aside from Andrea Constand, who's the accuser that brought Cosby to court to begin with, the jury has also heard from at least 5 other women who say that Bill Cosby assaulted them and that he's a serial rapist. The jury, if I remember last time, was predominantly minority. This jury, 7 men and 5 women, 10 of the jurors are white, 2 of the jurors are African American. I think that's the flip of the script, and maybe John remembers that, maybe doesn't. The jury is now getting this trial, the case today, I understand. Well, they're doing their closing statements today, so the jury will be getting it very soon, if not today. And I just think that where John never even gave thought during the first trial that Cosby could be convicted, I think he may get convicted this time. See if John has followed it to any extent that he wants to comment. But I think that what I said is some of it's unambiguous facts, the composition of the jury, other women that weren't allowed to testify the last time. This is a completely different trial. By definition, it's a completely different trial because it's a whole separate trial. But the rules are different in this one. That's what makes me think, where I was in total agreement with John last time, I think there's a reasonable chance, if not at this point even a likelihood, that he may get convicted here. We'll see if John wants to play around with that next.
Spring has finally arrived. Are you looking forward to that special cigar while you play golf, mow the lawn, or just relax after that backyard barbecue? Then you need to get on over to Smokers Haven. With the largest selection and all the top brands like Ashton, My Father's, and Monte Cristo, Smokers Haven is where you go for premium cigars hand-rolled by the best cigar makers from all over the world. Smokers Haven has all the cutters, lighters, and carrying cases to enhance your smoking experience. Check out smokershavennj.com for locations, hours, and upcoming special events.
Hey there, it's Reese.
And Irvy.
From the franchise concept, Reese and Irvy's. By now you've heard about our patented frozen yogurt vending robots that serve 7 flavors of delicious frozen yogurt with 6 amazing toppings in less than 60 seconds.
To date, we've sold over 200 franchises, 1,000 robots, and we're officially labeled as one of the hottest franchise opportunities of 2018.
With no employees, no rent, no brick and mortar shops, just fully automated robots that work for you and deliver instant customer satisfaction. Revenue for you, smiles for them.
We secure our franchisees' high foot traffic locations like cinemas, hotels, tourist attractions, colleges, and malls. From installation to instant sensation, we provide you all the tools for Froyo success.
No experience is necessary, and full and part-time franchise opportunities are available.
To find out if your territory is still available, go to froyofranchising.com to learn more, and be sure to enter promo code 3434. That's froyofranchising.com, promo code 3434.
Has your current sales job got you caught in a rut? Are you not making the money you know you're worth? It's time to tune into a new career. Town Square Media, Atlantic City is adding full-time advertising executives to sell our full range of products. We're more than a radio company. We're the online advertising experts in South Jersey. Don't miss out on one of the fastest growing careers. Call Mike Rubel, Market President, at 609-645-9797 to schedule your interview. Town Square Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. One of the things I value most in life is time. Time to spend with my daughter, time to spend with family, and the time I put into my company that's reinventing the way women color their hair. The busiest, most successful women I know use Madison Reed, the amazing hair color hack. In under an hour and for less than $25, Madison Reed delivers gorgeous, shiny, multi-dimensional, healthy-looking hair with an ammonia-free formula. You'll look like you just came from a salon, but the reality is you have more me time to do what you love. Things get busy. Let us take care of you and your hair. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code HELLO. That's code HELLO. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade. Join me next at 10, then Sean Hannity at 3. Now back to Harry Hurley on WPG Talk Radio, 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
To some extent, everybody, you can't avoid hearing something about it. So pretty much everybody knows that Bill Cosby is in a second trial. He's accused of drugging and sexually assaulting a woman in her Pennsylvania home back in 2004. It's the same charges as he faced in the first case. Now, the first case ended in a mistrial that was largely, and John did a phenomenal job on his program, which if you've not heard John, because for some reason Thursdays you can't listen to the program, John is on every Thursday in a must-listen-to 8 o'clock hour that is absolutely tour de force every single week. And John gave some of the best counsel in the country and just commentary on the first Cosby trial. We didn't follow the second trial. Both of our lives, got in the way. John was very busy on things, work, projects, run for Congress. I was very busy planning for our annual dinner for 260 people. So it was just, I didn't follow this one like I did the first one. But just by accident, I couldn't help but note, wait a minute now, Judge is letting 5 women. Now, they wanted many more than that, but he allowed 5. In the first one, none of them got in. And then there's just these other things like the composition of the jury that just all make this second trial so much different, in my estimation, John, than the first trial. And I know that if we were doing Smart Law with John Zarek, you'd have prepped, you'd have a lot of specificity and things like that. But just because this is just on the spur of the moment that you and I have this privilege to be together this morning and share thoughts with our friends listening, what do you think about this second trial versus the first one? I say it's really it appears to be much different.
Yeah, it definitely is, and the main problem is for the Cosby defense is you have 5 women who came in and testified. However, based on post-trial or post-testimony interviews, they're not 5 solid witnesses, and I am sure. I wasn't there, so I didn't see it, but I am sure Mr. Mesereau, Cosby's defense attorney, handled them quite well. And there is remember there's a percentage thing here. I mean, he had what did was it Wilt Chamberlain? I think, said he had sex with 10,000 women.
Yes, wrote about it. Yep.
I'm speculating. Well, I'm glad I got the name right and don't have a lawsuit coming. But Wilt said, and he wrote about it, obviously he had a sex problem and 10,000 women. And the way Cosby operated, you could see that he probably had probably if you speculated, maybe 5,000 women out there. I mean, it seemed like his mind was on sex a lot. He engaged with people a lot. He liked to have sex. There were plenty of women when you're a star. Plenty of women out there. Or if you're a female star, plenty of men out there who want to attach onto that stardom. They're fulfilling needs that have nothing to do with their physical sexual needs. They're more psychological, chasing someone to get affirmation, to avoid the void, to fill the void that they have in their spirit, really. So, not to get too religious about it or spiritual about it, but that's really what people are doing. They're running around. They're trying to make things better. So that's the population generally that you're dealing with here. And if you could speculate that he probably had sex with 5,000 women in the course of say half as many as Wilt, and he did it on a regular basis whenever he got the chance, it seemed. And to have, I think 50 women came forward and told stories. That's 1%, And when you have a billionaire and you have 1%, only 1% coming forward, you have to figure that that is probably a percentage that's consistent with seeking fame or seeking money.
Do you ever think, though, John, and I'm just throwing this out just to make it interesting, I agree with what you're saying because it's statistically incontrovertible, but what about the many hundreds of more, hypothetically, maybe thousands of more that just didn't want to get put through the meat grinder of coming public and bringing themselves out into the open and could say the same thing, but just chose to keep it to themselves?
Yeah, and there could be more in that circumstance who would have come forward but didn't. But then again, there could be tens, and there are. No question, there are not tens of thousands, there are thousands of women
who would say that it was consensual.
Oh, they had a very delightful time, and if they were truthful, probably one of the highlights of their careers in that area, and it was thrilling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I think that Mesereau is a good lawyer, a good defense lawyer, handles difficult problems. Being charged is a very difficult problem, and going to trial is a very difficult problem.
Is it also challenging to do the second trial after the other side saw your best game in the first trial.
Sure. But that's the state's problem. Mesereau didn't do the first trial.
That's what I'm saying. But that's true. That's true. He has to live with what happened in the first one to an extent. But you're right. He's new in the second one. John, let's take our last break. When we come back, please continue. And also, because you are the perfect person to respond to this because of so many trials that you've been on and you've done the voir dire and decided through your experts and your expert talents yourself who you pick versus who you ask to be excused. And this jury, which now in a few hours will have this case, 7 men, 5 women, 10 are white, 2 are African American. Now it's all on them. Case is over. Final statements have been made. Closing summations are done. Jury gets the trial. That gets the case to deliberate. I think the composition of this jury is also very different than the first trial. We'll see what John has to say about that when we come back. It's 45 minutes past the hour. We'll call it a bonus episode of Smart Law with John Zarek. And I'm Hurley in the morning.
When you need to know, make the switch to WPG Talk Radio 104.1. And when you need to know the absolute latest breaking news, download the new WPG Talk Radio app for your iPhone or Droid and enable push notifications. The WPG Talk Radio app will alert you to breaking news, road closures and traffic delays, important severe weather information, and more. Download the new WPG Talk Radio app today through Google Play or the App Store.
They say leftovers are only good for a couple of days. But at Lillison Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have specials on leftovers all month long.
Hi, this is Stacy Lilliston. At Lilliston Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, we have over $1 million in leftover inventory. We have to move these units off our lot, so during the spring sales event, we've marked all 2017 models with deep discounts all month long. Save $13,673 off MSRP on a 2017 Ram 1500 SLT Crew Cab, or take advantage of our low Lilliston lease payment of just $299 a month. We're accepting all offers. Take a road trip this summer in a new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica L, lease for just $299 a month. It's the spring sales event, and your new vehicle is waiting.
Lillison Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, North 2nd Street in Millville. Online at Lillison.com. 36 and 39 month leases, 10,000 miles per year, plus tax, first payment, and acquisition fees. All applicable rebates with approved credit through Chrysler Capital. All costs borne by consumer. Offer ends 4/30/18.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
From personal and business banking to residential and commercial lending. From Kid Smart Saving to planning her dream wedding. From saving for your golden years to checking off your bucket list. We're with you every step of the way. Welcome to the bank that treats you like family.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. One of the things I value most in life is time. Time to spend with my daughter, time to spend with family, and the time I put into my company that's reinventing the way women color their hair. The busiest, most successful women I know use Madison Reed, the amazing hair color hack. In under an hour and for less than $25, Madison Reed delivers gorgeous, shiny, multi-dimensional, healthy-looking hair with an ammonia-free formula. You'll look like you just came from a salon, but the reality is you have more me time to do what you love. Things get busy. Let us take care of you and your hair. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code HELLO. That's code HELLO. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade. Join me next at 10, then Sean Hannity at 3. Now back to Harry Hurley on WPG Talk Radio, 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
We have been visiting this hour in a bonus open forum with John Zarek. John Zarek, the official criminal defense attorney for the Hurley in the Morning program, the law offices of John Zarek. Offices all over the place, multiple offices in Cape May County and Atlantic City. Northfield, I'll call it the worldwide headquarters. And you can visit John and his firm on the World Wide Web at johnzarek.com as well. We've been talking about a lot of things, everything from Chuck Malamut to other issues, future of our country. And also, I slipped in right after the halftime break a little bit of this Cosby trial because obviously the jury will be deliberating, I would believe, starting today. I can't imagine closing arguments or comments will take more than today. So they're going to have the case, I would think, by after lunchtime or sometime late afternoon, and then they will deliberate. John, what are your thoughts about this composition? 12 jurors, 7 men, 5 women, 10 white, 2 black. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think in Montgomery County, the defense is fortunate to have 2 black jurors. I think that's African American jurors are much more likely to have been illegally stopped by police. They're much more likely to have been treated with disrespect by the police. They're much more likely to have been accused wrongfully or have members of their family accused wrongfully. That's just a fact. I mean, I'm not talking about any individual case, but in general, Caucasian jurors are more likely to side with the police because their only interactions with police, to the extent that they live in well-to-do neighborhoods or neighborhoods that are predominantly white or all white, they're much more likely to have the only contacts with police as favorable contacts, contacts where the police are trying to help them in a situation where they've been wrong. African Americans typically are in a different situation. Their contacts with the police are going to tend much more to be contacts where they've been accused or the interactions have not been favorable, and so they're much less likely to be readily accepting of the state's position. So,
John, you know what I also meant to mention, and this was going to be part of my big defense of why this is so different, much more perilous than the first one. The hashtag #MeToo movement was not a big specter in the first trial at all. And now you have that as well. So I just think this second trial is just so dangerous. The prosecution, any mistakes they made, they can say, well, let's not do that one again. And now we're going to get 5 more women in, and we only had 1 last time. And we like the composition of the jury. This just seems like, but then again, all it takes is 1, right, John?
That's true. That's true. And if you have someone who is firmly convinced, and that's the standard, firmly convinced of her, it's not even of the innocence of Cosby, but if you have one juror that's not firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt, then that is enough for a hung jury.
John, would you explain to our listeners, and I am one of them, that doesn't know for sure the standard? We know in some, I don't want to say anything's de minimis because it's all got exposure, but in some cases it will be preponderance of the evidence, so just a smidgen one way or the other, and you can say guilty or not guilty. But this firm evidence, firm proof, what is that? What exactly does that mean to you, or by the law?
Well, the old standard was, and jurors were instructed that proof beyond a reasonable doubt was proof that you would rely on, without question, in the most important decisions of your life. Like someone selling you a house, and without title insurance or anything else, you are dealing with that person. They tell you they own the house. They show you records of the house. They show you their tax bills. And you say, is that the type of evidence that you would rely upon? Are you firmly convinced that they own the house? Is it the type of evidence that you would rely upon in your most important business dealings, which, say, would be like buying a house or getting married, taking one great job over another? Are you firmly convinced that the evidence shows that you are making the right decision?
So
and that's
high standard.
That's beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, preponderance of the evidence it's a scary thing, and it's not applicable in criminal trials. What it is it a little more likely, like 51 to 49, 100 marbles in the tray, and 50 in one and 50 in the other, and you take one marble and you move it into the other tray, and it tilts the scale a little bit that way. And you could get, in that circumstance, a verdict against you in a civil case for $20 million.
Jeez.
Right? That it's a little more likely, not firmly convinced that the plaintiff was right and the defendant was wrong, not even clear and convincing. That's a higher level of proof, clear and convincing. It's clear evidence and it's pretty convincing, but it's lesser evidence than being firmly convinced and being beyond a reasonable doubt. So beyond a reasonable doubt is a very high standard, and for a good reason, because you can put someone, in this case Cosby, in jail for the rest of their life based on a decision that you're making. You want to be firmly convinced. And believe me, Mesereau will be very likely to expose that problem. I don't know about, and there are a lot of factors to work with. There are factors that are out in the open, and there are subtle factors here. For example, factors of attitude. One of the interviews I saw of one of the accusers, it just seemed, look, there are people that are genuinely distressed if they are sexually assaulted. I've certainly seen a number of those people, represented a number of those people in different proceedings. But if people are sexually assaulted, they're traumatized, but they have the ring of truth with them. When they speak, you can tell this is from the heart. But at least one of the people that was accusing him had what I would call a manufactured level of drama, a level that was, they had an eye, sort of like Jim Comey,
yeah,
an eye on the television cameras. Is my makeup right? That kind of thing, where it may not have been the case. It may be just my impression of that. But, so there are always lots of factors. There's always lots of danger for both sides in a criminal trial, because you never know how those factors are going to be exploited by the attorneys. But Mesereau, I've met Mesereau again at National Trial Lawyers in Miami. He was given an award 2 years ago, and he regularly attends anyway. But he's a solid, steady guy. He's a true believer.
John, if you have a client that could face up to 10 years in prison on each of 3 counts, he's 80 years old. So you're absolutely right earlier when you said if he's convicted, he could easily spend the rest of his life in jail. And a man like him, man of means, at his age, who knows? I don't think he would do very well in prison at all. So his life could even be shortened by just that factor alone. If you were the defense attorney and I don't want to play the race card. It's going to sound like I am, but I'm just calling it like it is. And you have a jury of 10 whites and 2 African Americans. How comfortable or uncomfortable would you be about that? And, of course, you would have participated in the selection of the jury, but what are your thoughts about that?
That's good odds. I mean, that's in Montgomery County. It's a predominantly white county, well-to-do, and to get 2 African Americans on the jury would be considered a strategic advantage.
This is another difference, John, in the first case. The first case was not in Montgomery County, correct? Or was it?
No, it was.
Okay, it was. I thought they moved it actually. Okay.
No, it was in Norristown. I'm in my mind's eye and 99% sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all. So I'm gonna defer to you on that one, and I just think this is going to be very interesting, and especially even though it's a new defense attorney, the state put a case on. They got a hung jury. Did we ever learn? We did learn. We talked about it on your show Thursday in the 8 o'clock hour. The jury was